Greetings folks, Flying Doctor here, hope you're doing okay. Welcome to the channel, welcome especially if you're new. Please do like and subscribe as we move on. Well folks, here we are again, another day, another Microsoft Flight Simulator update that's decided to take a little holding pattern before landing. Now we were all prepped for Sim Update 1, but instead of a smooth touchdown, it seems like we've been given a go around. I get it. You're ready for performance improvements, better autopilot, smoother weather rendering, and maybe, just maybe, a patch that stops your airliner from diving into the ground when you engage VNAV. Instead, we're left waiting. But here's the thing. You can either sit around complaining about the delay, or you can use the time you've got wisely, and that's where I would come in. In this video, I'm going to break down why this update was really delayed, in my view, and not just a PR excuse, what we're supposed to get and what is still missing, and finally, how you can actually make the most of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 whilst you're waiting. For many people, this is still a functional package. So grab a coffee, strap in, and let's take a good look at what really is going on. Welcome to the Flying Doctor channel. So we'll stop the scrolling, go back up to the section of the page that was relevant. Beta testing for Sim Update 1 continues with a new pre-release test build 1.3.13.0 being released to beta testers, and the release notes available. Firstly, really important, if you are part of the beta testing program, and anyone can be, then you need to go back and make sure that you've got the update, the latest update to Microsoft Flight Simulator. In my case, I needed to go back to Xbox PC. It was telling me to update the app. As soon as I updated the app, this new beta came along. So it gives me something to do. We're moving on from the old beta to the new one. What's actually being said? Well, apparently February the 18th was tentative. The reason for the delay is that they want to ensure the best possible experience for all simmers. Now, I think that is code for things broke in testing and we need to fix them before the forums catch fire. You make a repair to one part of the sim and it has a knock-on effect to another. It's not just a case of, well, we've seen that kind of issue somewhere and we can quickly fix that. Very often, it's like you fix something in one place, but you disrupt something somewhere else. So I think that's where the delays are. So Asobo might be saying, we're ensuring a positive and stable release. But what they're really saying is that we don't want the forums to catch fire. But in some senses, this communication is helpful because simmers want to be part of testing this release. Although I understand that there are two different camps looking at Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a kind of gaming camp, and then those are sort of simmers who understand that simming is about development. Although there's no question that what was initially released was desperately poor, as I have shared before. So what have been some of the major bugs reported in beta testing? And this is what you'll find on the forums. Firstly, broken electronic flight bags, EFBs. This has been reported by multiple testers on the forum. Certain aircraft, G1000, G3000 and tablet-based EFBs weren't displaying data properly. So imagine loading up your flight and suddenly your aircraft's avionics decide to take a holiday. Yeah, that is a problem. The second problem is longer loading times in free flight mode here. This one is really frustrating. Beta testers were reporting extended loading times, especially if you're going to a detailed city. Here's me struggling to get into London here, London City airports, or with custom flight plans. Some flights still took up to twice as long to load. I'd say this is longer. And the third point is that once you do actually arrive and get over the photogrammetry nuclear winter effect, especially in intense areas of scenery, you're seeing performance drops. That's become apparent on the Discord channels and the forums as well. And real concerns over instability where FPS is concerned. You can see me just giving this a little bit of a test here. You can also see if you look down, just how awful the photogrammetry looks. Basically, if you're flying over a big city, you may as well be running the sim on a potato. However, you can still practice your landing. Here I am coming round here just to figure out where the London City Airport is. And some autopilot functions were worse, not better. You can see me just testing out, in particular, the approach mode, and it just appears to be working here, but is unreliable in other aircraft, or on other occasions. Allow me to go into a little bit more depth. That was a very quick summary, but effectively, what is missing here? Okay, what are we waiting for? Well, avionics and glass cockpit fixes. I mentioned autopilot. It's not so much the autopilot, well, it is. It's really to do with the altitude setting and the VNAV profile. So if you're not even to know, the VNAV profile is a profile for your flight where the vertical navigation is preset. In other words, your altitude is preset. So VNAV affects things like you're ascending to an altitude. So usually here I'm in the Kodiak, I would rotate the altitude knob here, and that would allow me, as you can see, it's increasing on this. If you look really close, I'm increasing my altitude here, my target altitude. And the VNAV system is around how you increase that to that altitude. That's one element of the autopilot. The other way in which is the way in which that's done automatically as the flight is tracking. And so the issues around here have been times when the autopilot fails to maintain this correct altitude you want to be popped in there, or follows an incorrect VNAV profile. There's LNAV and VNAV. I could go into that in a little bit more depth than I have on some of the other videos. LNAV is your lateral navigation, so your compass course, and VNAV is your vertical navigation. And you can get flight plans that have both kind of featured from start to finish, and it's problems in those areas. However, I would say that this is a great time. I've flown the 172 and I found the autopilot to be excellent. Works out really well in combination with navigation. So perhaps whilst you're waiting around, time to look at that. On the flight bag front, some users just were getting blank screens. Well, I've not had anything of that order, but I do think that the EFB, it would be great if we could do some more work on the EFB. One of the things you'll have seen, those with a very keen eye would have seen that as I was talking about the flight bag earlier, I had a little program called Little Nav Map up. The reason that is up is because that will show me the safe altitude between two locations. I can't see that at the moment on the flight plan, so it would be good to see some improvements there, and also data being presented correctly. One or two people having struggled with that, so it does need a little bit of work, hopefully not too much, but this is still there are workarounds to this. As for career mode, I've got some passive income here. I would say this is still feeling very inconsistent despite an earlier fix, but what I would say about career mode is that we were looking for more diverse and engaging missions. The early beta did seem to show that. However, several missions are clearly plagued with difficulties. Skydiving missions, for example, often not giving people sufficient time to deploy all the jumpers, and that means that you end up with a mission failure. And certain aircraft required for missions showing performance problem, meaning that they're unflyable. So yeah, the career mode needs looking at itself. In terms of progression, one of my big bugbears, quite literally a bugbear really, is that I'd built a small cargo company using the 172 and was really proud to have reached the point where I managed to get the Kodiak cargo plane. I was thinking, we can do longer missions there. I can't actually use this at the moment. It won't allow me to transfer into this aircraft, and even I've placed it and I'm trying to find missions that are close to that aircraft. So there's a bug there, and it's not appearing as an aircraft to select when I enter into a mission without a nearby airplane. As a live example, here I am on the world map. Now, for those who aren't in the know when it comes to forming your own company under freelance. So the aircraft that are available for you are indicated with this teardrop here. So there's one there, and then elsewhere around the world, if I just scout round to Europe, you'll see 2 other aircraft that are available to me. These are the 3 Cessna 172. So second one here, and a third one in Iceland. And so my problem is that my new aircraft just isn't appearing, even though I aimed to site it in Australia here. So it's not even here. I do have a second icon, so I'm a little bit confused about what is occurring there. But if I click on this, if I click on somewhere and say want to locate an aircraft, so let's say I want to fly that mission, that will give the opportunity for me to move an aircraft. No aircraft available, minimum transfer cost 760. If I select, if I accept the mission, you should find that it gives me the option of selecting an aircraft. So here we go. So transfer closest aircraft, click on that. Here we are in the shed with the dirty C172. If I request changing the aircraft, and here we are. I don't have the option to change the aircraft to the one that I've bought, so I really don't know what's going on. And even if there is something that I'm doing wrong, it should be more obvious than this. So yeah, significant disappointment for me at the moment, but still plenty to learn. There you go. Once again, there's my aircraft. If I click, I can transfer that. Just see if I've got anything wrong there. Let's see what it's saying to us, and I'll find that it is where I was saying it's located, which should be there, Brisbane International, which is where I put it, 0 credit, so that's where it is. I've got the option of moving it somewhere else, but say a couple of thousand credit. Let's try that. Let's try that and see if that works. Okay, for the sake of this video, transfer it across and see whether we can see anything there. So yeah, this is beginning to hack me off quite a lot here. So that here's my aircraft. You can see it's the 208B cargo. This aircraft here is a 172. I'm nearer from this aircraft is nearer to there, where there's a mission going on. Let's just show you what's happening here. So I'm going to accept that mission. I've got the opportunity to transfer closest aircraft, but actually this aircraft is the closest. And as you'll see, just give it a couple of seconds as this pops up. It's just not an aircraft. So change aircraft. Do I have an option to change? Let's just have a look again, see what's going on. No, can't see it. So that is a real problem for me. That's just personal to me. But if there are missions placed with issues in themselves anyway, but also inconsistencies, for example, in ranking of the success of missions with unexpected demotions, despite missions having been completed properly, and inconsistency around why you only get a B rank, and then it, or a C rank or whatever. So it's hindering progression and the speed at which you can advance the mission. So this really does need looking at. There's a lot of general things in career mode. Like, I think that it would be lovely to work into the sim in increasing level of attention paid to setting up the aircraft, for example. Rather than just removing the chocks and the pitot cover and just jumping in. I think there's a lot of room there, but I'll just take what I can at the moment. Let's get the missions flying right within career. And the crime, where is my aircraft, seems quite common at the moment. In that sense of aircraft not being where they should be, where you left them. I mean, for goodness sake. I mean, yeah, so occasionally I can forget where I parked the car outside the supermarket, but losing an aircraft on Microsoft Flight Simulator, well, that's just not on, especially if it's not down to me. So these are the things that are frustrating users at the moment that Flight Simulator want to get right before it releases out update 1. In terms of performance and weather enhancements, I'm enjoying a lovely flight here into a northern airport in Iceland in the C172. Turbulence wasn't an issue, but within career mode in some missions it has been absolutely terrible, and reports are that the turbulence modelling is not quite sorted yet, not quite there yet, and also cloud dynamics, they need some work. I have seen that where suddenly we're a bit low there, aren't we? Sorry. Anyway, just getting distracted. But the cloud dynamics are not quite everything that we'd hope to see. And so, yeah, if you've got those exaggerated turbulence effects, you can quit. I've not seen you lose anything in a career because you've quit, but it's just an utter pain if you have to do it. And things that, for me, for example, no weather data appearing on the flight display. As I am looking to just estimate what's happening in my language, and things like the ticker tape freezing until a certain stage in the mission. So yes, the flight simulation team looking to resolve that, optimize the rendering processes to ensure smooth performance graphically. I mentioned before the densely populated areas, but also to address these turbulence issues as well. And so, yes, that highlights the need for continued development. We're not all there like Sims, like, give us what we got, we'll take us what's not working, and we'll tell you about it, we'll be part of it. Not everyone's like that. And I get that entirely, but that's the reason why the updates are there in a little bit more detail. And yeah, there is an element of perhaps what they don't say, or it's said in depth, and it's not the kind of thing that they're going to say easily in a sound bite. Perhaps that's my role. So then, what might you want to do? How do you make the most of your time? Well, I do think it's really worth looking at autopilot and navigation systems if you haven't already. As I say, on the 172, which is pretty much, it's a really good basic aircraft to fly. But on the 172, I've not had any problems at all. So it's a real opportunity to try and master autopilot and navigation together. Have a look at flight level change as opposed to vertical speed for climbing. This is a little video that I was hoping to do before, but the sound was absolutely terrible. Yeah, so thinking about how you want to look at using the various elements of the autopilot as well. Practice your GPS nav and heading mode tracking. That's another thing worth doing there. You can see me playing about there. And also, you can have a look at some ILS approaches. You saw me just logging into, or not logging in, tuning into a localizer. It was actually outside Leeds in the UK. So there's plenty to practice. It's not all bad. It's not all broken. Trust me, if you can handle the autopilot now, you'll be a wizard when the actual full thing arrives. But I come from a stream as well where, not all facets of the Garmin units, for example, in X-Plane 11, X-Plane 12, or fully operational. It is a mock-up, and there's a lot of functionality here. So that's one thing that you might want to do. Free flight as well is worth a look as well. Pick a random location, find something new, fly in some dynamic weather, try some different aircraft in real time conditions. Don't forget, it's not all about career mode. In fact, what's amazing is that we're all focusing on career mode at the moment, and try some challenging landings. Because if you've only ever flown in clear skies, well, perhaps there's time now to challenge yourself. You can see me having a good look there, and to kind of have a good look at the glass cockpit. You can find your way around here. But have a good look at the glass cockpit and your autopilot. Yeah, and experiment with career mode and flight planning. Perhaps prepare some flight plans outside of career mode. Why not kind of get your sim brief working, your Navigraph maps working, go back to sort of planning your own flight plan and loading that in, because when things are more consistent with electronic flight bag, we can see some more development happening there. You'll be able to load in other flight plans as well. In fact, I've shown that previously. That was functional at one point, but as I go back to the beginning, and I just say the problem with the updates is that very often you can find that you update one part of the sim and it breaks something else because things are connected to each other. There you go. There's me practicing vertical navigation. I think I was pointing out there that you can have vertical speed or flight level change. Anyway, folks, yeah, so sorry this video didn't, it's a shame this video didn't work out. It was a detailed look at the autopilot and a look at the glass cockpit layout as well. I still may go back and do something, but I thought this video might be more interesting for people, the fact that there's been a delay on the Sim Update 1. But what you can do in the meantime. Anyway, if you enjoyed what you saw, folks, please like, please subscribe. It's been great to be with you, and take care and stay safe.